Okay, this is it. The last episode of season 1. Now it's my turn to say previously on Send My Mail to Nashville.
I wanted to go back to school and learn the art of storytelling. And that's where country music is, the masters are here.
From the moment that I heard music, I knew that I was drawn to it. But I never gave myself that voice.
23 months clean and sober now. Thank you.
Just trying to get the books out of the way for now. Putting the life back together.
I don't have a specific style when I write. And half the time, if I come up with a hook or I come up with words, I'm not necessarily sure of where it's gonna go.
If you want your foot in the door, go where the door is.
Co-writing with Jen Friend for the first time, I'm freaking out.
These pages, do you see that at all?
Oh, like water?
Yeah, like when you cry all over your notebook. It's like there's bad juju on that page and we'll just take it to a whole nother page and start a whole new page. So it's fresh and it feels new and it has its own starting a clean slate kind of thing. Something else. That's all I got.
Probably trying to stay out of my own way. I have a tendency of getting right up in there, and I've got a really nice summer home on the shores of Lake. I don't know.
I think the most challenging thing that I've had to deal with in the past 5 years is patience.
Buy this house, that was obviously a challenge.
Wow, since we made the last video, this is going to be so cool to watch it back and to watch the crow's feet grow. Michelle Tominski got married, the one that got away. You live and learn, kids.
The first one that comes to mind is finding my original voice.
The most challenging thing for me was a little over 3 years ago losing my son. I've learned a lot since then about life. I've handled it because we had made our peace. I'm not sure I would be able to handle it like I did if I hadn't had that opportunity to close our gaps and to make our life was going forward, and that was a great thing. So now I'm left with the memory that, hey, I got to know that guy, and he was a fabulous guy.
Gray sky rain as I'm soaked to the ground underneath my feet as I close my eyes and sink below.
Welcome to California. You get these dreams as a kid, and then you kind of get a little success or whatever, and then maybe, let's say, you screw it up, like I did, and just don't know. I just didn't know much about life. I didn't know that we're all one energy. I had no clue that was a thing, and that if I stab you, I stab me. I was at the freaking airport. I was about to scream at this woman, because my flight was all messed up, and then I somehow fell behind her. I'd been meditating. Big mistake if you want to remain an asshole. Anyway, I just remember falling behind her iris. I went like 3 billion miles deep into some place inside of her. And I felt this like kinetic energy making her heartbeat. And then I realized, and then it kind of figure 8 looped back to mine. And I realized that it's the same exact energy making the grass push through the concrete that's making us get up and move. So anyways, I look around the airport and I just feel, and I feel the presence of all these beating hearts around me. And I remember just looking around and I was like, hello, me, it's you, how are us? It's this weird thing that happened. And so, anyways, ever since then it's been really hard to have one-night stands. Gotta know what wolf you're feeding.
With Trevor Finley, you can hear songs like Bells of Helena, Indianapolis, Coffee Cup, and Send My Mail to Nashville.
I I signed on with Gateway Guitars, D'Addario strings, which is great. I've used D'Addario strings all my life.
What kind do you like?
But I'm a fan of the D'Addario because their nuts are colored.
Well, all the best nuts are.
Tiffany came out with a new CD, and I have a co-write with her on that. And we're going all over the world and playing all sorts of shows in front of thousands of people. Yeah, it feels like I might actually be at the right place at the right time for once. It's nice.
Come on, Mark. I would call this my post-Kev Mo period. You know, I didn't think that was going to be as long as it was, even, to be honest. You know, I figured, oh, I'd get to tour with him with a new album, and it went 2 years. And just the whole transition of what am I going to do next? So I did a Kickstarter, you know, that was the big thing, you know. You were so nice to support it too, you know. And that, you know, that happened, pretty much the video was in 2012, 2013, and it took another year, you know, 6 months to a year to release the album than I promised.
I've produced so many records and EPs for other people over the last 7 years that I haven't been able to really finish my stuff, so this has been really cool to actually talk about my CD.
I was in Paris for a couple days. This was post the blues tour. I fly home to Boston one night, and next morning I fly with my mom. I arranged all the flights and everything. Get there, drop my bags off. We were up the next morning. We get on that plane and we're in Seattle, Washington, you know. And then a couple hours later, we're in the theater, and our musical Great Wall was on. I have a whole musical. The Great Wall is about my family. My mom's sitting right next to me, and we're watching it on Saturday night, and it's sold out, and you know, standing ovation at the end, and people just jumping for joy. So that musical moment, literally the musical moment, was exciting when my mom was there, and she was really, I think she was proud, you know, I think she was happy. It was a little awkward, of course, because like she knows who's playing her, you know what I mean, in a way, because this is my life story.
On stage with your band. 'Cause even the stars look lonely, even the stars are lonely. Was my Cinderella moment, maybe for my entire life. That was the most amazing feeling. I knew I belonged. Finally, at that second, I knew I belonged as a songwriter. The absence of your presence, that aching phantom limb, you're ever in my heart, never in my arms again.
I auditioned for The Voice like 5 times in a row. Did season 10, got 0 chairs turned. That was crazy. My mom flew all the way out to LA just to get her heart broken. Did The Voice season 11, turned 4 chairs. I didn't make it past the knockouts, but that's fine because I got everything I needed to get from it. And I gave everything I could give. Went back to Nashville, got a publishing deal, had my first top 40 hit with Pick Any Small Town, which was actually played on The Voice finale. So I got to be on The Voice season 11 and be that light. And that's what keeps me sober, because I want people to see that light, that divine energy that's flowing through all of us that you just kind of dull with drugs, and it becomes dark and it's hard to see it. May 10th will be 8 years without shooting dope.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's just for you.
Way down.
When we were in Europe, I wanted to record Way Down, just a little demo version. And here I am, I'm singing this song. I'm singing Way Down on my phone. And when we get done, Tiffany's like, "You're doing that on tour." Tiffany hadn't really, you know, heard the song maybe a couple of times. And we just did it live on the stage right there, just like a, you know, a wing it kind of situation. You're literally performing for somebody else's fans and hoping that they're okay with that. It was definitely a moment.
Well, luckily Trevor knows the song, you know.
Yeah.
In his sleep.
In his sleep.
Yeah. So you got that.
I'm pretty sure the song haunts him in his sleep.
Way down, deep in the water, where I find it, there I swim.
Personally, things are better than they've ever been. My house is now a home. I owe that to the new lady in my life, who's also provided me with 2 dogs and a cat and way more responsibility than I've ever had in my life.
Do I want to get married and have kids? That's a good question. I've been really thinking about that too a lot. I guess the answer would be yes.
When you were first interviewing me 5 years ago, I was a part of the contributor, the street paper, and that became an important part of my life. And after the passing of my son, I found that when I went in there and was doing that work, that it was actually very therapeutic.
Walking by the Montreal on the river.
It's the old saying, I thought I was poor because I had no shoes, and then I met a man who had no feet. And I know I've got a sad story.
Okay, checking in.
Every day, so many stories come in that door that, wow, it's heartbreaking. And yet, it shows me people who are taking their life under control and moving up in this world, you know, and coming back. And, you know, I love gaining people's trust. And that's the hardest thing with people coming off the streets, you know, is they're very distrustful. And over time, as you just treat them with decency and respect, how friendly they get, how much they smile, you know, how generous they are.
You realize your time has come. You've finally opened your eyes. Walking by the Montreal on the river.
My favorite gig ever, just playing for the chapel at Cumberland Heights for all these suffering addicts, and playing my songs about when I was suffering, like Gray Sky Rain, and then going from that to like Lost, where I was sober, and just that is the most powerful thing for me.
The end of the doc, you just started a relationship with Ian, and you're cohabitating.
We are.
Obviously, because your Legos are mingled.
Yeah, yeah. The bottom one is mine, and then I did the Ghostbusters. And the rest are Ian's, I think. I'm losing track.
There's an organization in Boston called BCNC, which stands for Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center, and they're just an organization that is involved in education and a nonprofit, and they help people, you know, who live in Chinatown or wherever, and amongst the Chinese community, assimilate into American culture. I wish my parents had a center like that, you know. So that's what I'd like to do, is get more involved with that, whether it's teaching the blues and songwriting. 20 years of touring, I must have learned something, you know, so I want to share that.
You taught me something about when I was doing a set in LA, and you said, I think I called you and asked you, like, how do I do this? I was opening for Cindy.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
You said, don't speak, just go out and sing. You know, and then introduce yourself and don't say anything else.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I remember that.
Yeah.
To this day, I still remember that.
Yeah. Did I do that Thursday night?
Had a single down around it. I'm trying to wrap my head around what's happening. There's attraction there. Never wanna disappoint you. Just like your Barcelona head to toe. For the rest to know. Cause I was thinking, ooh la la, who's that the fine thing that walked in?
You know, you're a musician and you're just, you know, you're there to serve. You know, like you're there to serve the music. You're there to serve each other and feel like a family. And it just felt nice with all our friends around. You know, Trevor and Jen. You know what I mean? And just, yeah, Jimmy Borgia.
Right now I'm wondering where I am and you begin. Let's head to my other side, taking our own sweet time.
As it hits your ears, there's the catch-22 loving you. You don't know I will love you till the air runs out. Still convincing, even when you're not in doubt. If the mountains won't move, I'll push a little harder. If the seas won't part, I'll walk across the water. It would all be for you. It would all be for you. It would all be for you. And this catch-22 loving you.
I'm hoping that the greatest moment is still yet to come. So I'm cherishing the memories that I've made, but at the same time, am striving for more. As soon as you become satisfied, you become complacent. As soon as you become complacent, you may as well just like, okay, let's pack it up, let's go home.
I expect to be on top of my game more than I ever have been. I expect to be a well-known songwriter, well-respected songwriter. Here we go. Who knows? So many exciting things.
I want to do an album that has a concept and has something for, you know, people who really, really, really love music. I want it to be almost like a live jam session.
Forward. Or as Firesign Theater said, forward into the past.
Anything else you want to say?
So much.
How does he get through day-to-day life? You can barely make it through the grocery store. He's just staring at orange juice. Aren't you glad I didn't stare at you? Anyway, so it's so terrible. Dad jokes all day. I have kids.
I think anybody who sings songs, whether they think about it or not, is a storyteller. I always tell people when they're singing and they worry about, well, I want to sound like so-and-so, tell the story first. You know, if you get the story across, all the other stuff is peripheral.
If you happen to be one of those people that is really fearful, really afraid to get on stage, take that step. It's like everything else that you do. For the first time, it's terrifying, but I promise you it's so well worth it. And surround yourself with people that love you and believe in you.
I am super grateful to be on a really cool compilation of amazing artists and songwriters. It's really cool that we're still doing it and we haven't given up.
Thank you very much. I guess that's it. Thank you very much. Karen, thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jose Romero.
Sure thing, and thank you, Stacey K. Black.
This is cool. This is good.
I decided to take my chances down to where the old town Badger plays. I packed up my own Telecaster, dusted off my dusty brown suitcase. In my heart, I'm already gone. In my mind, I know it's right. How can it be wrong? Said my love
ready.